Hey there, everyone. That sexy nerd is back again, and I thought I'd be a little, interesting today. I have never really gotten into the angry video game nerd. Some of the stuff I liked. I liked when he did his Cinemassacre stuff. I liked when he did the movies, especially the Godzilla-thon thing. That was probably one of the first things. But I never got into his video games very much because he covered very old video games, and for those of you who don't know, I didn't start my video game journey until I got to my Nintendo 64 in 1997. So, yeah. And then after that, I got a Game Boy Pocket. So, y'all remember those? But I had never really covered most of the games. At least when he started coming out, I never really was interested in the games he was covering, like Castlevania and a couple of them. So I never really got into him. I liked when he would come in and talk about movies, but never watched this video game stuff. So I'm going to rectify that since he's now covering the Gex trilogy. And I have a weird, I had a weird like for Gex. It was very appealing to me because not only, even though I was a little kid, not only the guy seemed cool, but he got the ladies too or something. There were always ladies next to him in like every version of advertising that he had, that these video games had, and or at least Gex 64. So and I was able to play it, and I was severely disappointed because it just seemed like such a silly little thing. Some of it was funny. He kept on turning to the camera and making some weird comments and stuff. So you know, that was funny. And I think for some reason it reminded me of Jim Carrey. I don't know why. I don't know. But I've always wanted to actually play these games because it was just the game that I got into just a rental, and I never got to play much. And I wasn't very good at video games. I'm still not very good at video games, but I I tried. I tried to play this game, and it always stuck in the back of my head. I always wanted to play these games, and I bet you now they're nowhere. I'm not going to have nearly as much fun with them. But hey, nice to see someone go over these games and remind me of my childhood. So here we are. And now he's the first one I'm covering. I may also cover Final Fantasy III. He apparently did that not so long ago, and that was actually one of the videos that I was like, yeah, maybe I should actually record James Rolfe or react to some of his stuff because he covers some cool things. And yeah, if you guys want me to do more of this, let me know in the comments below, and I'll cover him as much as I possibly can if I enjoy it. Well, I mean, I know I'm going to enjoy it. So, without further ado, let's just get into the episode. And remember, please smash that like button if you want to see more sexy and nerdy content, and subscribe if you think I deserve it. And remember, sign up for my Patreon for all my latest reactions to all my latest videos. And let's do this thing, y'all. Some episodes, I remember.
Back in the day, it was all about Nintendo and Sega. Nintendo had Mario, Sega had Sonic. These were the two big mascots of the video game arena. Nobody else could even come close. It was a two-party system until the character Gex came along representing the 3DO. Now, Gex was exclusive to the 3DO, just barely long enough for a sloppy crap to drop from a sloth's anus, because later that same year, of '95, it was ported to the Saturn and PS1. So now both Sega and Sony had the Gecko on their side. Two sequels followed, which were on both the N64 and PS1, and until 2000, Gex was the mascot for the developer Crystal Dynamics, who are also known for Legacy of Kain and Tomb Raider. Now that I just spit out all that history, let's talk about the character. What exactly is Gex? Well, he's a wisecracking, TV-watching secret agent gecko who's voiced by stand-up comic actor and writer Dana Gold, at least in the North American versions, who also wrote for The Simpsons from 2001 till 2007. So
Well, not the best
basically,
years.
Gex is just another green smartass like Michelangelo or Mondo Gecko. Yeah, remember Mondo Gecko?
Mondo
Or maybe it's more
Gecko.
like the Geico Gecko. A talking gecko? Why?
I'll tell you why. Because people trust advertising icons.
Gex. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on shitty games.
Ah,
So the game begins with a weird cutscene.
I had just finished my usual morning routine of nude funkercise.
Nude funkercise? Can somebody explain that to me? Or no?
Damn,
How about
Rolf.
not? So the
I'm
main
old.
hub is the media dimension, which is home to a bunch of TV channels that Gex has to travel through as he fights his way across a bunch of side-scrolling stages, each with a different TV theme,
Oh, I
and
played
ultimately
this
has
one
to go
too.
head-to-head with the main villain, Rez. All along, Gex keeps saying annoying one-liners.
Yeah.
It's tail time.
It's
Just a bunch of random
this is all-
quotes,
this is
either
so
throwaway jokes or references to movies or shows.
You moved the headstones, but you didn't move the body.
They're rarely well-timed and often just come out of nowhere.
Number one, raise sheep. George of jungle.
Sorry, Mr. Presley. Looks like bugs after the trucks. Hey, where's Jane Fonda? This is the worst health club I have ever been to.
To be fair,
Hey,
that
where's
was cool
James
climbing
Bond?
on walls.
Jeez, Gex is annoying. I guess it
Yes.
could be argued that Mario is just as annoying sometimes,
Hey, where's Jane Fonda?
but maybe we've gotten used to Mario. We put up with his
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah, it's
This is like if I just blurt out unnecessary quotes any chance I get. I'm king of the world! Here's Johnny. There's no crying in baseball.
You're doing it
Sometimes
okay.
not only is it random, but it makes no sense.
This place is weirder than 4th of July at Rick James' place.
Huh. Rick James, 4th of July. I don't get it.
I mean,
So, I've played the 3DO, Saturn, and PlayStation versions, and they all seem identical. The first stage is horror-themed, clearly, where you fight Franken lizards
yeah, I
and
played
leather
this
Jason
part
face.
only.
Yeah, leather
Could never
Jason
get past
face.
it.
That's fun to say. Try it. Yeah. Wait a minute.
A friend of mine had
Pull
this game.
down while jumping? Can you pull down the D-pad? The only thing I can think of which means pull down is when you pull down your pants. The biggest
why do you have
question
brown
is which
stuff
one
on
of
your
these games
controller?
is the easiest to save, and I still don't know the answer. In the 3DO version, I died and gave up on the cemetery stage before I ever found a spot to save. But you can save on the memory card. The PS1 version you'd think would be simple, just save
No,
to the memory
probably not.
card, right? But no, it has a password, and they're really hard to read. Is that a D or an R? Maybe it's better on a CRT TV. But man, it sucks having to re-enter the code every time you lose all your lives. If you keep dying, like I did, you'll eventually find yourself entering the passwords on pure muscle memory, like you're punching in the Contra code. Except you only restart with 3 lives, so you bet your ass you'll be seeing the password screen a lot. Somehow it gets worse because you only get passwords after beating certain stages, like bosses for example. Each stage has hidden VCR tapes that also give you passwords to quote-unquote save your progress. But if you lose all your lives and haven't gotten a password in a while, you gotta redo a bunch of shit in the hopes that you'll get further than you did last time. Even the best levels in the world get old when you're forced to replay them on repeat. Otherwise, how is the game? Has it committed any real offenses yet? Well, look, the graphics are nice for a 2D side-scroller. Very reminiscent of Donkey
Yeah.
Kong Country from the year before, but
That's why
maybe
we were
not what
playing
you
it
hope
so
for a
much. We were
next-gen
playing along
console
with
on the
that.
brand new CD format. But hey, it's very colorful. The stages offer a lot of nice variety and cool things to look at. There's a cemetery, a cartoon land, jungle island, a kung
never
fu
got
themed
past the
stage,
first level.
and the final Resopolis that's filled with acid pools, tubes, and moving platforms. The control is functional and unremarkable at the same time. It plays like a game. There's nothing weird going on. Yet.
Looks like Beetlejuice threw up.
Oh my gosh,
that
the
Superman?
boss is chugging God knows what and then farting all over the place. He's farting! Now come on, that's just toilet humor. Now let's get on with this buffalo diarrhea bullshit. One big thing with Gex is that he can stick to the ceiling and climb on walls,
Yeah,
just like a
so-
real-life gecko. It's probably one of the more unique elements of the gameplay. Gex can even climb on some background walls, which actually looks pretty cool.
Whoa.
But sometimes I don't know which walls I can climb on because the background texture is blending into everything. God damn it. Other times, it looks like I can climb, but the game just won't let me. There's collectibles right there. Now that kind of shit really grinds my gears, but what really gets me going are the bullshit deaths. Well, that's gotta leave a mark. Another one bites the dust. Drop the ball there. Crash and burn. Game over, man.
Game over!
That's what Gex might say, but I'll just go with a simple, good old-fashioned fuck. Oh my god, it's Gamera. And I'm not joking. It is Gamera.
No.
He's got the rocket jets and even does the spin. The real character's name is Toxic Turtle, but it's Gamera.
But he's got a different face.
Gamera!
Different face.
Now listen to me, Grasshopper.
Oh fuck, the game froze. You gotta be kidding me. That's just wonderful. That would have been a perfect time to shut the fucker off. And it froze more than once. But the game isn't too bad. In fact, I'd say it's a pretty decent side-scroller, except the stages stretch on way too long. Like this level from the cartoon world. It has a million doors you've got to go in and out of to get to the next part. The level just goes on and on for so long that everything starts blending together, so I forget which doors I've gone into already, and I start going in circles. The same could be said for a few stages like the rocket ship level and the final Kung Fu stage. They just never seem to end. Come on. One thing that could have helped would have been the ability to move the camera around so you can see what's below you to avoid stupid deaths like this. Some platformers have this feature, like the Flintstones movie game on Super Nintendo.
Yeah, but that's a bad...
And, well, this game really needed that
bad
since
game?
most of my deaths were from falling into bottomless pits and acid pools, right below what I can see on screen. But probably the worst part is still the passwords. Not just having to enter them, but trying to make it to the next password. Nobody likes having to redo the same shit over and over. Also, the one-liners are really out of hand. By the end of this, I must have heard Gex say Wilma 100 times. Wilma! Yeah, speaking of Flintstones. But hey, at least you can turn the voice lines off. And believe me, I looked. But you know what? Actually, the most annoying thing of all is the final boss, Rez.
Hey, it's Darth Vader's younger brother, Myron.
You have to keep jumping across TVs,
What?
grab the power-up to damage him, keep hanging on the wall, keep dodging shit, and every once in a while, you get the chance to hit him. It's a marathon, but afterwards, you get a funny ending. You're the greatest. I think you deserve a medal. You kick butt. I think you are the epitome of all things great. You are the best gamer in the history of the state. No, more like the country. Actually, the best in the history of Earth.
Dick. That's the ending?
This goes on for over 7 minutes. I would make a joke, but it already is a joke. And we have 2 more games to go. So up next is Gex 2, Enter the Gecko.
Yeah, I remember
This is the
Enter
first
Gecko.
3D Gex game. It tried to copy Super Mario
this is the one I
64, as
played
it seemed every game
for a
at the
while.
time did. And as I mentioned before, it was released on both N64 and PS1. Even Windows and Game Boy Color if you really want to dig in.
Really?
It's enough to make your head spin. So between the 2 consoles, I'd say in the PS1 version, the graphics are a little more crisp. You can read
Really?
signs easier, the collectibles are cleaner, and the lighting looks way better. It also has an opening cutscene, which doesn't happen on the N64, probably because it's on a cartridge. The one-liners don't seem to repeat as much either,
All right, boys. Phases on stun.
but that's only because they had to cut a crap load of them and some music to fit the whole game on the 64 card. Oh, and the save system on PS1 is better. So, with all that said, let's play Gex 64.
Yeah!
First annoying factor is the confusing navigation. The stages are designed like Mario 64, where each one has
7.
multiple objectives, and you can only accomplish one
4?
thing per playthrough.
What?
I mean, it is Gex 64, so what else were you expecting? In Mario 64, you're collecting stars. In Gex, it's TV remotes, but it's the same idea. The problem is that it's less clear where you're supposed to go, so you just run around aimlessly until you accidentally complete an objective or find a remote. The camera is the biggest problem of all. It just swivels all over the place. Hey, I can't see! Oh, fuck, did you see that? I was in the middle of a jump and it moved. The camera is not your friend.
Nope.
It's like, hey, I need some help here. Oh, fuck you.
This is
See
why
ya.
I put it down.
But you can change it to manual. Now you have more control.
Oh,
It makes it a
didn't know
little
that.
easier. The aesthetics are fun.
What?
It has a playful style, making references to Bugs Bunny, Indiana Jones, Gilligan, James Bond, and Godzilla. Yeah, gotta love the Gexzilla stage. There's even a room that's flooded by an
Damn it, I
overflowing
missed
toilet.
that.
Now, if I'm gonna call anything a shitty game, well, that just takes the turd. Oh, Gex, don't lick the toilet.
What? Why are you making him do
no,
that, you
that
bastard?
is one sick puppy.
You made him do it.
Oh, and on the Kung Fu stage, the music glitched, and it started sounding like Gex took a hard shit in the garbage disposal. Man, just listen to this. It's like a jackhammer to the ear. So I exited the level to try to fix it, and the game froze.
Of course.
Come on N64 on a cartridge? There are some incredibly annoying parts, like these doors, for instance. I don't know what you'd prefer to call this.
That's what I was hiding from the entire intro before. The reason why I eventually put it down, oh my god, I brought it to my grandmother's house. I somehow was able to move my Nintendo 64. I had no idea how. And I played it in front of my grandmother. My grandmother was like, my grandmother didn't know anything about games. Off the boat, Puerto Rico, didn't even know video games existed until I brought one not really, didn't know any video games existed, but still didn't care about video games. She saw this thing and she was like, what the hell is that? In addition to Gex always making the comments and everything, she was really like, this is really annoying. I hate it. I was like 5 or 6 years old too.
Trope in gaming, but I'll dub it the Scooby-Dooty-Poo doors. It's when you have to figure out which doors lead to which doors through trial and error. It sucks. I don't like it. Both Kung Fu Theater stages have their problems, but the second one, Samurai Night Fever, is a real son of a bitch. There are so many moving platforms, so many tricky jumps, and all you do is fall. It sets you up for failure every step of the way.
Oh,
Even with the
on.
camera set to manual, the game just feeds you shitty anus angle after shitty anus angle. I'm in space where I can jump even higher, and the camera betrays me once again. How did I not make that jump?
Oh.
When you can't move the camera, the game makes this annoying chirping sound.
What?
Almost like a cuckoo clock.
Yeah.
It's just to let you know the camera stopped. I don't know.
I remember
What the
that.
hell is that? Glover did the same thing, but at least it had the courtesy to mix the bird chirps with the occasional fart and burp. Was this actually a trend at the time? Imagine if that happened in real life, if you turn your head too far and a fucking woodpecker showed up.
Well, okay.
Then there's the N64 exclusive Titanic stage, where you have to use Gex's tail bounce to jump on shit. What is all this supposed to be anyway? Bunch of misplaced doorknobs and faucets? Getting to the top of this thing is like trying to climb a crap house wearing piss slippers. I will say the final boss is pretty cool. Rez is back, but this time he can grow bigger. Weird, creepy, and definitely something to remember. But after it's all done, there's no clever end scene, nothing like that, at least not on the N64 version. So, let's move on. Next up is Gex 3, Deep Cover Gecko. It's another 3D game, and like the last one, it was on both N64 and PS1. And between the two consoles, aside from all the usual differences, they have their own opening cutscenes. At least N64 has one this time, but it's just a bunch of magazine covers and newspaper headlines flying at the screen while a random British voice tells you the plot.
It all came to an untimely end when Agent Extra was mysteriously kidnapped.
On PlayStation, Gex is now a full-on secret agent or something,
Yeah, that's
and has
what
a
they were
conversation
always
with a
advertising.
large-breasted FMV woman. Yeah, they put a real-life actress in the game, similar to Vincent Schiavelli in Corpse Killer. Except this time, it's Marla Andrada from Baywatch as Agent Extra, so
lovely.
I'm sure it drew a few more eyeballs.
Hey, speaking of secrets, you want to see my...
Gex.
What the fuck? Anyway, I'm going to play N64 again because at this point I just played all of Gex 64, so it seems silly to adjust to a whole new controller layout.
Wow.
Typically speaking, you want things to be bigger in a sequel. An evolution, not just a regurgitation of the same shit you swallowed before. More things to do than you did in the last game, you know. And Gex 3 actually does that.
Really?
There are more stages to play, with more variety between them, more
this the best
power-ups
one?
and costume changes, and even more collectibles to, collect. Speaking of collectibles, I haven't really gone into those yet, but essentially if you find 50 fly coins in a level, you earn an extra life. If you collect all 100, you get a remote. But if you die first, you're fucked. Unless you find a checkpoint mid-level, you need to re-find every single collectible every time you die.
Swinging for the fences, baby.
In Gex 2, when you die and come back, your total collectibles stay the same. So why'd they feel the need to change this? Is it such a bad thing for people to get more extra lives? And Gex 2 even had cooler collectibles, since we're getting real petty at this point. Why do we go from a system with collectibles that changed form and matched each stage's theme to generic golden fly coins like the first game? We went backwards. It discourages wanting to pick the things up altogether, but they are your main source of extra lives, and those fucking remotes are hard to come by. So even if you try to tell yourself that you're not going to pick them up, eventually you'll find yourself slipping into bouts of madness hunting for all 100 fucking fly coins. And then you die after finding 99 of them and start considering giving yourself a lobotomy before attempting that shit again. But you do. Like I said, the stages feature a lot more variety this time. The levels are still broken up by different themes or TV shows, but none of the themes repeat like they did in Gex 2. Gex has a different outfit for almost every stage too. Sherlock Holmes, a gladiator, an Egyptian pharaoh, a mobster, Little Red Riding Hood, and Dracu-Gex, to name a few. He's got more wardrobe changes than Mel Brooks in one of his films. One stage is Christmas themed and has you battling snowboarding elves and Santa Claus to the death.
You're on the list.
Another stage lets you drive a tank and blow up a city, while another takes you all over a pirate ship. There's even a stage where they do the good, the bad, and the ugly whistle, and Gex dresses as the man with no name. How fucking badass is that? You feel lucky, punk? Wait,
It's a wrong
does that
movie.
say what I think it says? Is that a Donner Party reference? You know, the Donner Party who resorted to cannibalism to survive? And I
Jesus.
thought this sign was a little much for a Nintendo
What the
game.
hell?
That's pretty crazy.
It's a lot of
And
shit.
wait, what's that sign coming into view? Visit Pooptown, USA?
Wait,
Pooptown?
you mean Florida?
You're shitting me, right? Oh my god. I think I see it on the horizon. Holy mother of God, that is one big pile of shit!
Oh no.
And it's covered in nuts. That's gross. I'm riding an ass on a turd. Oh, Gex, don't lick the turd. Yeah, those peanuts
Stop.
are not sanitary.
Yeah, stop
Much like the
making
last
that.
game, all the stages are connected by a hub world, this time apparently Gex's secret island cave, where you can run around and decide which order to play the stages in. Yeah, I mentioned Mario 64 a lot, and not only did it revolutionize the 3D platformer as a whole, but it also solidified that if you're gonna make one of these things, then everything needs to be connected in a hub. Yeah. Whatever happened to a simple map? You know, like Gex 1. No, that would be too easy. So you have to run all over the fucking place, searching high and low for minutes at a time just to play the next stage so that you can collect enough remotes to
Oh,
challenge
it's
the
so
bosses.
annoying.
Tail time.
You can tell wrestling was still really hot in '99, just in case anyone forgot, because the first boss fight is a wrestling match against Rock Hard.
Really?
The boss music even sounds like a crappy wrestler's theme song. Yeah.
Really?
That's the bottom line, 'cause Rock Hard says so.
Oh, that's
Really?
messed up. Now it's fucking personal.
Hit me, go on, hit me!
Oh, you gotta be fucking kidding me, right? He turned me into a basketball? Oh, the fucking disrespect. Beating the bosses nets you the key
That's
to the
crazy.
next section of the hub world and your next slew of levels to
So-
find.
It was a mix of The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin. That's not a bad thing.
Besides Rez, the final boss, the only other major boss in the game besides Rock Hard is the Lizard of Oz. Lions and tigers and gecko shit, oh my!
My!
I wonder if Gex likes to wipe his ass with his tail. Anyway, he's dressed as the Tin Man for this battle. I hope he didn't use aluminum paint for the costume. Just avoid the annoying TV enemies and shoot him in the giant dumb face with the cannons that appear, and you're one key closer to the final battle. Gex 3 is actually not that bad. Sure, it's got some problems, but overall I had a lot more fun than I was honestly expecting. I mean, yeah, I got lost pretty often and I wasted more time than I'd like to admit, wondering where the fuck the last collectible is on this damn beanstalk. Oh, there it is.
Reminds me more of Donkey Kong 64, you know? The really absurdly long game that I, to this day, still have never defeated. Oh, God. I'm fine, I'm cool, I'm fine.
Pretty much if you liked Gex 2, you're probably gonna like Gex 3. They even fixed the camera, mostly. I mean, I just don't think I can bring myself to hate a game that brought us Poop Town, USA. After beating the final boss on N64, the game ends on another wet diarrhea fart to the face. We cut to Gex's rad, bow-tied fucking turtle butler Alfred relaxing on the beach. Yeah, British butler named Alfred. So original. Remember that random British voice I mentioned in the beginning of the game? Yep, that was Alfred. Alfred.
He thinks that he rescued Extra all by himself.
He tries saying Gex couldn't have done it without his help, like his tooltips in-game were really all that helpful.
Entering the training area should allow you to brush up on your skills.
No fucking kidding. Yeah, and he drops some sequel bait.
Mr. Gex and I will return soon. Ta-ta for now.
But this would end up being the last Gex game, so I guess it was just wishful thinking. Like the ending of the Super Mario Bros. Movie. The 93 version. And that's basically it. Like I said, hot, wet fart to the face. Not that great. So, that was the Gex trilogy. And to be honest, it wasn't as bad as the shit I usually play. It was kind of middle of the road.
Yeah.
Just where the horse shit usually lands. Yeah, it's a horse and buggy kind of road. But anyway, the thing that really bummed me out was the ending. It was so lackluster. I wonder if the PS1 ending is any better.
Ooh.
Well, that's what YouTube is for, so let's check it out.
And then, after he showed me his entire collection of Star Trek bloopers, he asked me to marry him.
That's my dad. Good thing I got you out of there when I did. As I was saying, Extra, my love, it's tail time.
Come here, you silly gecko.
Theology.
Gex.
You know what? I was fine with the first ending. Fuck you, you gecko motherfucker! Ugh!
His fingers are so dangerous. Cute. Yeah, that's why. I remember actually playing the first one too. I just remember that. I had a friend that actually, we'd play platformers. We were always trying to play Sonic, but he did let us play a couple other games, and yeah, we got so bored with Gex. Also, a friend of mine got us to, like, right after that, though, the only reason why I remember that game is because right after that game, he introduced me to Mega Man X. Ah! So, yeah. Not very good games, but it was very entertaining, and I hope to see a lot more of them. Let me know in the comments if you do want me to do more of these videos. Shared a little personal history of mine, and yeah, I'll see you in the next video, and please smash that like button if you want to see more sexy and nerdy content, and subscribe if you think I deserve it. And remember, sign up for my Patreon for all my latest reactions to all my latest videos. See you guys.